Hello, brothers. We're back with new book arrivals number 304. These were from a book sale I went to yesterday in a nearby town that doesn't concern you. I could tell you, but it's not like I'm hiding it. Let's get on with it. I spent 19 bucks after selling, I think, 60 bucks worth, 80, maybe 90 bucks worth of books last week, which were all doubles and books I didn't want. So this book's pretty cool. Cicely M. Barker's Flower Fairy books have delighted children and grown-ups alike for many years. This attractive new edition of Flower Fairies of the Trees brings out all the appeal and natural charm of the verses and beautiful pictures. It's also embossed. Looks like obviously a UK book or English. I don't know if you're even allowed to say England anymore. That may be racist. Have you seen the box unclipped, never shaped and never snipped? Often it's a garden edge, just a narrow little edge, or in funny shapes it's cut, and it's very pretty, but unclipped it is a tree, growing as it likes to be, and it has its blossoms chew, tiny buds the winter through. Wait to open in the spring in a scented yellow ring, and among its leaves there play little blue tits, brisk and gay. The hell's a blue tit? Hey, it's Fairy Goth. The Fall of the House of Usher, which is a very good cover. Help me! Help me! 14 tales of terror, imagination, and suspense. Narrative of A. Gordon Pym. The Black Cat. There he is, Edgar Allan B. Giants in the Earth, which is curious since I just picked up a copy the other day, a trade paperback. And when I looked up this book on eBay to see if it was worth anything, it's worth about 10 bucks. This edition appeared, which appears to be, yeah, this is probably 1960s. Perennial Library. 1955 is the last date. To those of my people who took part in the great settling, to them and their generations I dedicate this narrative. Giants in the earth. If in one sense the conquest of, oh, that's right, I already read that last week. The Devil's Advocate, and I don't know if this is what the movie was based on, the one with Keanu Reeves. The famed enthralling novel by the spellbinding author of The Tower of Babel. Spirituality, sensuality, ironic wit, and warm humanity. A unique drama of the human soul. Here is Morris L. West's most enduring triumph, a tremendously charged novel that burns to the complex heart of the human condition. It is a magnificent tale of human beings torn between guilt and redemption, the sins of the flesh and the yearnings of the spirit. A worldwide bestseller, it towers among the select few novels. I just like the art on it. Pluto. This I thought was going to be like a mythological tale, but it turns out to be like horoscope or astrology. So I will sell this one most likely. It's got a great cover though. When Dr. Cornell enriched the astrological world with his Encyclopedia of Medical Astrology in 1933, little was known about the planet Pluto. And indeed, most dedicated scholars strongly doubted the ultimate value of its effect upon our lives. Who's that fucking rapper? What's his name? But I looked up songs with the word Pluto in it. so I could post something on Instagram. And it was all that guy. What's his name? The Truth, or what the fuck is that guy's name? I've heard of him before, but almost every song he has Pluto. It mentions Pluto. Is that like a new thing in rap where you mention Pluto? Is Pluto some kind of underworld symbol now? The hell's that guy's name? Mythological background: Pluto rulership, Aries or Scorpio. Plutonian correspondences, Pluto in the houses. Pluto in signs, aspects to Pluto. The ABC of Cocktails by Peter Pauper Press, and I have a small collection of these little books. And this one's actually worth some money. $10 or $15 range. Just little drinks. Drink combinations and with little illustrations. 1962. The ABC of Cocktails. Almost every one of these always has like a little fitted thing because people used to save recipes in books. Should be the same on the cover. Tis. I used to have a lot more of these Peter Pauper Press books, but I sold them foolishly. Now that I hoard books, I will not sell it. I will sell that one, actually. I have two of them. The Execution of Private Slovic, the true story of the only American soldier executed for desertion in World War II. William Bradford Huey? Baby Huey. This book's in great shape for its age, 54. So what's that, 71 years old? The fact that the spine is still intact is amazing. Private Eddie Slovak. His first name was Eddie. That should have been the first sign. The charge for which Private Slovak paid the supreme penalty, desertion in the face of the enemy, of the 10 million men who were inducted into the U.S. Army in World War II, 2,864 were tried by general court-martial for this offense. 49 were sentenced to death. 1 was executed. Private Eddie Slovak. This is his story, the tragic story of a man crushed in the conflict between fear and duty. Was bound to a post and shot to death by a firing squad of 12 men from his own regiment. Regimen. Is it regimen? Mariette in Ecstasy, a novel, Ron Hansen. And I had picked this book up at the book sale, and I thought I put it back, but apparently I didn't. So when I got home and it was in there, I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I have it. I'm assuming it's like erotica light, which is not my genre. What's it say? A luminous novel that burns a laser bright picture into the reader's imagination. What's it about? Was it like that for you? She is mute. You must be wary, Mariette. You must stay out of Satan's eye. All right. Sounds good enough. This book, I actually picked up 2 of them, too. I didn't realize I had grabbed them both. Actually, I did realize I grabbed them both, but I was supposed to check them out before I left. But when I got up there, I was just like, I need 2 of them, I guess I need 2. What's this even about? A compact documentary life covering 400 years of Shakespeare scholarship as Schoenbaum's William Shakespeare: A Documentary Life was greeted as a masterpiece by the New York Review of Books and called our best life of Shakespeare by The Guardian. This compact edition makes the resources of the world's greatest Shakespeare collections accessible to all readers who have been unable to consult the magnificent original volume. The Old Man and the Sea, and I recognize this book immediately because I've sold a copy or 2 of this. But this is not the sought after. As you can see, part of the jacket came off, thanks to the lady handling it. Checkout, and I was hoping it was the A, but it's a W. If you get a copy of this with the A, it's worth a lot of money. But this one's a W, so probably 20 or 30 bucks. With that A, you can get up to 1,000. I've seen one sold for 1,000 or so. But the W, not so good. Obviously, you know what The Old Man and the Sea is. One of the most boring books I've ever read in my life, but people seem to love it. The shark swung over, and the old man saw his eye was not alive, and then he swung over once again, wrapping himself in 2 loops of the rope. The old man knew that he was dead, but the shark would not accept it. Then, on his back, with his tail lashing and his jaws clicking, the shark plowed over the water as the speedboat does. The water was white where his tail beat it, and 3/4 of his body was clear above the water when the rope came taut, shivered, and then snapped. The shark lay quietly for a little while on the surface, and the old man watched him. Then he went down very slowly. Oh, my nose is itching. 1984 by Orwell. Obviously, library-bounded book. But I like old library-bounded books with these generic covers. Franklin High School, they even have their own personalized bound cover. 1949. It's got to be an early edition. I mean, it could even be a first. Who knows? It's not in great shape, but obviously it's got some water damage as well. No pocket, though. That's unfortunate. It's weird that it has its own Franklin High School on there. Where was this? Pittsburgh? Los Angeles. And then in that same vein, we have Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Possibly from the same place. No, this is the Ed Clark High School Library from Las Vegas. This looks like an early edition as well, but obviously library bounded. Hell, they might have actually bound these specifically for libraries. Keep roiling, little eggs. I can hear you in there. English Ghost Stories, Michael Cox and R.A. Gilbert. This collection of ghost stories is the first to present the full range of classic English ghost fiction, including some of the very best and most frightening ghost stories ever written. The important contribution of women writers to the genre is shown with stories by Amelia Edwards, Edith Wharton, M.R. James, Elizabeth Bowen, among others. I should read some of these. So, once I finish my 2 books, I will get on with ghost stories. Kokoro. Gateway Edition by Natsumi Saseki. I've mentioned this book a while back. Maybe I already haven't. I mentioned this book recently, a month or so ago, and I don't remember why I mentioned it. But now I have it. The subject of kokoro, which can be translated as the heart of things or as a feeling, is the delicate matter of the contrast between the meanings the various parties of a relationship attach to it. In the course of the exploration, Soseki brilliantly describes different levels of friendship, family, relationships, blah, blah, blah. Ticket to Hell, a saga of Michigan's bad men. Originally, I thought it was about Hell, Michigan, but it's just about bad dudes in Victorian times, mostly. The Death of Silver Jack. We'll probably read this book on the channel as well. The Sunflower. This book's worth nothing, but I like the cover. A young Jew is taken from a death camp to a makeshift army hospital. He is led to the bedside of a Nazi soldier whose head is completely swathed in bandages. The dying Nazi blindly extends his hand toward the Jew, and in a cracked whisper begins to speak. The Jew listens silently while the Nazi confesses to having participated in the burning alive of an entire village of Jews. The soldier, terrified of dying with this burden of guilt, begs absolution from the Jew. Having listened to the Nazi's story for several hours, torn between horror and compassion for the dying man, the Jew finally walks out of the room without speaking. Smart move, fuck that guy. Father Ryan's Poems, Household Edition of the Poets. Ella M. Donovan? What do you got, bruv? December 23rd, 1912. There's the frontis. P.J. Kennedy and Sons, 1896. Adown the valley dripped the stream, white lilies drooped on either side. Our hearts, in spite of us, will dream in such a place at eventide. The Novel of the Future by Anne Niner. I've looked up how to pronounce her name like 10 times and I've forgotten. I think it's Neen. In the Novel of the Future, Annius Nin. No, it's Annius. Annius? Is that how you pronounce it? Annius Nin explores the act of creation in literature, film, art, and dance. Boring. To arrive at a new synthesis for the young artist struggling against the sterility, formlessness, and spiritual bankruptcy afflicting much of modern fiction. Identifying those trends which she finds most destructive in modern fiction reportage, the substitution of violence for emotion and the growing cults of ugliness, toughness, and caricature. Nin offers instead I'm going to just call her 9 Inch Nails. 9 Inch Nails offers instead an argument for and synthesis of the poetic novel. There was the mention of LSD. We already know it's bunkum. This book I thought was a biography on Oscar Wilde's trials, but it was apparently a play by Moises Kaufman, so I don't care about it. This book I've already shown you because I accidentally picked up both copies. Soren Kierkegaard, The Sickness Unto Death. I've never read this. I probably should since I now have about 5 copies of it. I've read, what's the one book? Purity of Heart is to Will One Thing, but never got around to this one. Pure selfhood. It is clear from the above that the concept of selfhood in The Sickness Unto Death must be a rather special one. Of course, the very notion of a self is vague, and it is impossible to assign it a definitive sense, so there may be nothing inherently peculiar or objectionable about the special sense employed by Kierkegaard. Vladimir Nabokov, or is it Nabokov? I don't think there's a consensus. A novel by the author of Lolita and Ada. Shockingly, his books are not worth very much. But this is, and they're always usually in great shape because I assume that people have read Lolita, which I haven't. I've read parts of it. It's just stupid as fuck. But my expectation is that people buy these books and just never read them because almost every copy I've seen of a Vladimir Nabokov book, other than Lolita, has been basically unread. And this one's probably from the 60s and looks unread. 71. So a 50-year-old book that looks like it's been unread. I mean, it's got some shelf. Look at that guy. I hate him instantly. This was a find. This was in biographies, which was funny, but I figured nobody knew who Bukowski was, as is the case at most book sales. So I usually get the books that they have, and this is more or less a best of selected poems and stories. Ongoing going out to get the mail. The droll noon where squadrons of worms creep up like strip teasers to be raped by blackbirds. So I go outside, and all up and down the street, the green armies shoot color like an everlasting 4th of July. And I too seem to swell inside a kind of unknown bursting, a feeling perhaps that there isn't any enemy anywhere. And I reach down into the box, and there is nothing, not even a letter from the gas company saying they will shut it off again. Not even a short note from my ex-wife bragging about her present happiness. Hold on. Oh. Not even a short note from my ex-wife bragging about her present happiness. My hand searches the mailbox in a kind of disbelief long after the mind has given up. There's not even a dead fly down in there. I am a fool, I think. I should have known it works like this. I go inside as all the flowers leap to please me. Anything? The woman asks. Nothing, I answer. What's for breakfast? And that's basically the gist of Bukowski. One or two good lines, and most of it's just drunken blather. But he's still better than 95% of the poets. It's just that he's not great. I mean, people idolize him, but was not a great writer. Prolific, but not great. Ray Bradbury, Fahrenheit 451. It's got some unfortunate blemishes on it, but I still got it because it seems to be an early edition. I think it's X Library. Yes, it is. X Library, but still an early edition. It's got to be worth something. 1967, so maybe not so early edition, but early enough book club edition. It's got to be worth something. The jacket has been pissed upon by the ages. Tonquish Tales. I shouldn't have bought it, but something in my brain never stops me from buying this book, especially when it's signed by the author. It's basically the early history of the area around Plymouth, Michigan, and the Potawatomi Indians. I call them the Potawatomi, but it's supposed to be the Potawatomi. There he is, the Winter Ojibwe. Actually, I should clarify, it's the early Indian history of the area. It's rather well written. This book I think I have. Life in a Medieval Castle by Josephine and Francis Guise, or Guys. I like the little illustrations. Probably should read this book too, since I know nothing on medieval Europe. Look at that fucking art. It's brilliant in a way, but it's also fucking juvenile. All right. Diaries, Robert Musil. Selected, translated, and with a preface by Philip Payne. Edited and with an introduction by Mark Merksey. Why? What was he? Was he a writer or a painter? The Diaries of Robert Musil are a secret look into the life and mind of a writer whose fiction embodies one of the 20th century's daring leaps of consciousness. Ranked with Kafka, Proust, and James Joyce in the pantheon of European modernists, Musil attempted to apply the precision of his scientific training to the utmost bounds of the imagination. Afternoon rested, drafted 3-page of the Ulrich chapter. Walk in the Prater in the evening at Joseph Adler's house. Room with work by Kokoschka, Schiele. etc. But the furniture, both in terms of selection and arrangement, feebly bourgeois. Similarly, while their response to art is of a high level, they nonetheless conduct their dealings with each other with a bantering inter-family tone. There are two things that one cannot fight against because they are too long and too fat and have neither head nor foot. Karl Kraus and psychoanalysis. This apparently is my big find of the day. Good friends, good guns, good whiskey. Selected works of Skeeter Shelton. Apparently, this book's worth about $100, and since I'm not going to read it, I will have to sell it. I saw the name Skeeter Shelton, and I'm like, I've never heard of this guy. It's got to be some bullshit, obscure stuff, and sure enough, it is. Saw some copies going for like 150 plus, but if I can get $100 for this book I paid $1 for, I will do it. I shall do it, bruv. And I almost put it back, but I'm just like, no. Put it in your bag. Shooting times. Good friends, good guns, good whiskey, boy. Lastly, The Mystery to a Solution, Poe Borges, and the Analytic Detective Story by John T. Irwin. But there was fucking Alfred Hitchcock there. Tis what you expect it to be. In The Mystery to a Solution. I can't do it anymore. I gotta get ready for work. Bye-bye. Goodbye, bros.